Hi everyone, and welcome to Market Audience and Social Research, SPSS Workshop number 9. I'm Kelly Koff, and in today's workshop, I'll show you how to use SPSS to calculate Cronbach's alpha. So this reliability analysis will provide a measure of the internal consistency of a multi-item scale. And the question that we're looking to answer today, it's detailed on page 20 of your workbook. So in this scenario, a researcher wants to determine the reliability of an 8-item optimism scale. So 4 of the items are negatively worded and the responses have been collected using a 5-point Likert scale. So although there's 363 responses, some of the data is missing, so we need to calculate the Cronbach's alpha coefficient for the scale and make some recommendations about the possible exclusions of those items. Okay, so let's get started. First of all, we need to open up the Market Research Exercise 9 data file. So this is not the Hobbit data file that we've been using in the previous exercises. This one can be downloaded from the LMS if you don't already have it. I've already done that and downloaded it to my desktop. So I'm just going to open SPSS, select the file, and hit open. Let's find Exercise 9 there. And that's going to open my data set. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do with this data set is to recode those negatively worded variables. So these are listed out on page 22 of your workbook, and they include the opt1, opt3, opt4, and opt7. So if we scroll down, we can see these here. Opt1, opt3, opt4, and opt7. So you might remember that we did this in SPSS tutorial number 3. And what we did is we went up to transform, then went down to recode into different variables, and then clicked on that. So this is going to bring up the recoding dialog box. Now we just need to scroll down and find our variables and bring across the ones that we want to recode. So the first one there was opt1. Highlight that and bring it across, or drag and drop it into the input variable, output variable box. So now we need a new name. I'm going to put this in capitals and change it to opt 1.1. So I've put my name there, OPT 1.1. Just going to hit change. Now open up our old and new values tab just by clicking on that. Now we're going to reverse our values. So where the value was 1, we now want the value to be 5. So I put a 1 in the value under the old value tab, a 5 in the new value, and then hit add. I'm going to change 2 to 4 in the same way. I'll keep 3 the same, and I'll put that in, so 3 remains 3. 4 will now become 2, and I'll add that in. And 5 will now become 1, and I'll add that in. So just checking that you've done that correctly over in this box here, and now hit continue. So now we can just hit OK, and then wait for the receipt. So the receipt with SPSS says that recoded opt1 to 1 equals 5, 2 equals 4, 3 remains 3, 4 equals 2, and 5 equals 1. So now that we have our receipt, we can go and do that to the remaining variables that we need to transform. So transform, recode into different variables. Scroll down until you find the next variable. That's opt3. We'll bring that one across. We'll put opt1 back. Just clicking on opt3 to rename it. Change this one to opt 3.1, typing in the name and just hitting change. Then when I click on old and new values, those values are still there from the last one that we did. So just checking they're the same and hitting continue and clicking OK and waiting for that receipt. So now opt3 has been recoded into opt 3.1. So now we can do opt4, transform, recode into different variables, scroll down until you find opt4, bring that across, bring opt3 back, select opt 4, rename it, renaming mine to opt 4.1, hitting change, opening up the old and new values boxes, make sure that's fine, hitting continue, hitting OK, waiting for the SPSS receipt, and now doing that on the final variable. So transform, recode into different variables, scrolling down until we find opt 7, bringing that one across, taking opt 4 back out, clicking on opt 7 and renaming that to opt 7.1, changing that, clicking on old and new values, making sure it's still there, hitting continue and then OK, and waiting for that receipt. So now we've recoded all of our variables. So now we can do the Cronbach's alpha. So what we'd be looking for with the Cronbach's alpha here is really, as a general rule, we want that number to be higher than 0.7. So anything over 0.7 is considered to be good. If it's 0.8, that's even better. And if it's 0.9, well, that's fantastic. So let's see what our data says. First of all, we need to go to Analyze and then scroll down until you find Scale. So once you've found Scale, just go across and click the Reliability Analysis. So it's Analyze, Scale, Reliability Analysis, and then click that one. That's going to open up our Reliability Analysis box. And this is where we need to put our values in. So here we have our variables opt1, opt2, opt3, opt4, opt5, opt6, opt7, and opt8. But we need to scroll down for the ones that we've just created. So bring opt1 across. That's opt 1.1. Then go back and find opt 2. Bring opt 3 and opt 4 across. Go back and find opt 6, opt 5 and opt 6. Bring those across. Opt 7.1, opt 7.1, and then opt 8. So something to remember with when you bring these across is the order that you put them in the items is the order that they're going to come back in the cross tab. So you can rearrange these. So I can put 4 as the first one if I wanted to. I can bring that back in sequence. So just be mindful of that when you're doing it. And then click on Statistics. That's going to open up our Reliability Analysis Statistics box. And here we just have to make sure a few things are ticked. So we need to click Scale, then Scale if item deleted. Then in the Into Item box, we need to select Correlations. Then we can click on Continue. Then we can click OK. So now SPSS is going to perform the analysis, and we can find that and check the results. Okay, so straight away we can see that our Cronbach's alpha here is 0.777. So this is more than 0.7. So this is a good result for reliability. So the other thing that we can look at here is the inter-item correlation matrix and the item total statistics tables. So I'll just scroll down for those. So don't forget, one is a perfect correlation between the variable and itself. So that's what happens on the crosstab table. So we need to look at the figures underneath that. So if we look at the item total statistics crosstab, we can see the corrected item total correlations here. So for opt 7.1, it's only 0.263. So this is really, really weak. Anything under 0.3 is a really weak correlation. So regardless, with a Cronbach alpha of 0.777 for all of the 8 items, deleting any of these items really would only give you a marginal improvement in the alpha score. So this is shown in the first column here. Sorry, the final column, just down here. What this is showing is what the Cronbach's alpha would be if you deleted each of these variables individually. So if we were to delete opt 7.1, for example, our Cronbach's alpha would go from 0.777 to 0.785. So not a huge difference whatsoever. If there was a bigger difference here, then we could delete that variable from the calculations and start again. That's going to increase the reliability of the scale. But for this one, really isn't needed. So in practice, what this might mean is that if one question on a customer satisfaction survey, for example, it's not really adding any value to the overall customer satisfaction score. So that might mean that you could drop that question or ask it in a different way to get some different data. If you want more information on how to interpret these results, though, have a look at Chapter 15 in the SPSS Analysis Without Anguish textbook, and then make sure that you save this output and upload it to the LMS. Okay, until next week, take care.